What is up, guys? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. And before we go any further, we now have timestamps down in the timeline below, so you can skip this waffle at the beginning and go straight to the stories. I've got a couple of little things to say before we get started today, so please feel free to do so. But it might explain some stuff. I've had a couple of comments about asking why I ask people to support every time, why I'm begging and all that kind of thing. And honestly, I wouldn't do this if I really didn't feel the need to. It's not something I really enjoy doing, but any advice place you go via YouTube or forums where it discusses like YouTube analytics and things like that, basically these are called call to actions, where you're required to say, could you subscribe? Could you like the video? Could you join us on Patreon or whatever? Yeah, whatever it is, asking the audience to do something for you. And it's been proven over time, there's a 50% increase on these things if you ask them to do so. If you have pop-ups that come up that ask, can you please subscribe? If you ask someone to join your channel, it basically works. That's the only way I can explain it, really. I really wouldn't do this if I kind of didn't have to, you know. Although this is like a hobby for me, I would love for this to become full-time at some stage, and it requires me to ask of these things. And I'm really sorry I have to do that to you, because I know you're here just to watch a video and chill out, and you don't want someone begging in your face every 2 seconds. And I really don't mean to. And if I didn't have to, I really wouldn't. And I honestly, truly just appreciate you guys being here. The time out your day to sit with me and we have a little discussion is more than enough. Thank you so much for the support and just everything, really. And with that being said, let's get into today's stories. Much love, guys. Our first story comes from Ridivo. Am I the arsehole for not saying anything about the underwear? My 20-year-old daughter and her fiance are currently staying with us. I love my daughter, but she is very difficult and I can't stand her fiance. I gave them a deadline to move out because I can't take this anymore. They got into a massive fight the other day while my wife was out. I guess a pair of my wife's underwear got in their laundry and she thought he was cheating. I think the fact she immediately jumped to cheating shows how bad their relationship is. She was waving the underwear around and I recognised them because they had a floral print, but I just let this ridiculous fight go on. My wife came home after about 30 minutes and said they were hers. My wife asked if I didn't realise they were hers and I accidentally laughed. My daughter burst into tears and won't talk to me. Her fiance said we're fucked and left the house, but my wife thought it was funny. Oh God. And what a way to start. The thing I'm confused about in this story is, so they're staying with her parents, but she thought that he either cheated in that house or brought the underwear back to wash. What the fuck? And then I was looking at the comments and they just get really weird. The first comment is from Whom's JPEG. You might be the arsehole, but I am living for it. Edits, my personal verdict is you're the arsehole, but I'd like to invoke Shitman V. Frickboy, which states that in times of outlandish or otherwise infantile behaviour, arseholery may, subject to scrutiny, be permitted. Jazzing it up says, take my power award.jpg. Stego Patrice says, swinging my underwear in solidarity. Then gets a gold for this, and says, edit, thank you kind strangers, I swing my underwear in your direction. Edit 2, wow, my first gold. I am floored by the sheer weight of my now golden underwear. What the fuck's going on in here? Tufted Mouse Tits says, I don't wear undies, I'm just swinging my ass in solidarity. God damn it. Al's Big Deal says, everyone sucks here, including me, because I laughed too. Lake Hermit said, everyone sucks here, everyone but the mum. Mum took ownership of the floral panties right away. 544 said, not the arsehole. If your first thought is cheating, not the other woman lives in this house, you've got issues. Relevant Interest says, my sister's undies ended up in my load once. Worse, since I had the same pair, I tried to put them on. She's a negative 14 and I'm a size 14, so we're very lucky the universe did not tear in half. I love a kind of light-hearted one to get us started in today's stories. But what do you think of them below? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. Our next story is from Morning Drinks Throwaway. Am I the arsehole for drinking in the morning and telling my girlfriend to leave me alone about it? Classic, I know this sounds bad, but, and throwaway because she knows my main. I, 29 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 27 female, for a year and a few months. She moved in with me just about 3 weeks ago. Honestly, she's moved in and I've been feeling a bit smothered. She's currently unemployed due to COVID and doesn't seem to be very aggressively looking for work, and I feel like she sort of expects my attention all the time, and I feel like she's just been scrutinising me too much. I'm an essential worker and recently was moved to overnights. Yesterday morning when I got home from work at a little after 7 AM, she wasn't awake yet. I was a little too wound up from work to go straight to bed, so I decided to pour myself a bourbon and sat down to find something mindless to watch on YouTube. My girlfriend got up maybe 15 or 20 minutes later and came into the living room where I was sitting. As I greeted her, I saw her eyes narrow as she looked at the glass in front of me. "Wait a minute," she said. "You're actually drinking?" "Yeah, so?" I answered. "It's morning. Who drinks first thing in the morning?" I tried to explain to her that it wasn't first thing in the morning to me, that it was my evening time, and that just because I worked overnights didn't mean that I shouldn't be able to unwind after work and have a drink like everyone else. But she just couldn't seem to get past it was morning. Finally I'd had enough and told her she needs to stop smothering me, that I'm a grown man and unless I'm doing something egregious that I shouldn't have to justify myself to her, that I don't need her permission to have a drink. I told her that I was trying to relax and that if she was just going to give me a hard time, to please just leave me alone. She's been pretty quiet with me since. I know I hurt her feelings, which I feel bad about, but I also think she was being unreasonable and somewhat controlling, that I wasn't wrong to tell her to knock it off. Am I the arsehole? It's one of those ones where they give a throwaway account that gives very specific details about the story. So if the girlfriend did stumble across it, she's going to know this is you. I love that. Anyway, I personally feel OP is totally right in this story. I mean, it is like their evening, and of course they're allowed a drink to unwind afterwards. My brother was pretty much the same when I used to live with him. When we both lived at our parents, he was still living there when I was a lot younger. My brother's 10 years and then upwards older than me, and I have 3 of them. And he used to work nights, and when he came home, one of the first things he would do was crack a beer open. And at first, when I got to admit, when I first saw it, it was kind of like, yeah, that's kind of weird. But after a while, you sort of get used to it and you think, yeah, this is evening time, and you don't see him for the rest of the day because he goes to bed. So, but this all sounds like a bit of a backlash from being smothered by her at the moment. But I don't know. Let's go down in the comments to see what we can find. Thigh44 says, "Not the arsehole. This is completely her inability to understand that third shift work is different, so morning is also different." Bizarre Peanut says, "Her and so many other people who can't comprehend that sleeping during the day doesn't make you lazy. Not the arsehole." Devil's Advocate says, "Used to work overnights and also my unemployed girlfriend hated that I was lazy because I slept until 3 PM. Some people just don't understand simple concepts." Llama Laughter says, "When I worked overnights, my mum would call me on her lunch breaks to chat cause it's not like you were doing anything. It took exactly one call at 3 AM on my lunch break to get her to stop trying to call me while I was sleeping." And fair play to you. I think that just says it all really, doesn't it? What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. Our next story is from Pretent is Witty. Am I the arsehole for refusing to fulfill my father's last wish? Background, I'm not on good terms with my parents. My sister is highly narcissistic and both my parents enable her. Ever since I was small, I wasn't allowed to do anything better than my sister. If she got a 60% in an exam, I was supposed to keep my score below 60%, even if I could score more than 90%. I broke this rule during college entrance exams. I got into the top university in my country. I prepared for 2 years to achieve that. Even though my score was good, my sister cried and threw a tantrum about how embarrassed she would feel if I went to a better college than her. So I was forced to attend the subpar college she attended. Now that I was finally away from home, I worked and saved up. I also did my best to prepare for campus job interviews. Right before I started attending job interviews, my father called to tell me that I cannot get a job until my sister does. This pissed me off to no extent. I ignored him. I landed an amazing job and moved to another state right after my college ended. I've now been low contact since then. They gave a police complaint saying that I was missing. They tried to call my company to tell them to fire me so that I can return home. I am now married and live with my husband. They have harassed me, my husband and his family before my wedding in an attempt to stop it. I went no contact after that. They even gave a complaint saying that my husband kidnapped me and I had to spend the whole day at the police station proving he was my husband. Last week, my father had a heart attack. His conditions is not so good. He's in his deathbed. One of my relatives called me to tell me that he wanted to talk to me, see me and make amends before he dies. I refuse to do anything that is related to them. My mother and sister have been contacting me from different numbers. They have begged, they have yelled, they have tried all the tricks in the books. I refuse to budge and I said I won't talk to any of them again. Obviously, my family thinks I am the arsehole. My husband's family thinks I am not. So am I the arsehole? Wow, what a crazy story. And one of the things that sort of jumped in my head is, are they making this story up that he had a heart attack to try and get you home? Because it almost sounds like if you get home, they're going to keep you prisoner there. That's what it was saying to me in this story. Like they're phoning up a job to try and get you sacked so you can be returned home and stuff like that. That is absolutely crazy. I would almost bet that it was a story made up to get you home, but I don't know. Wow. Let's go straight to the comments to see what we can find on this one. Loco Mama 83 says, not the arsehole, you went no contact for a reason. It sucks that he is possibly dying and now wants to make amends, but you are not obligated to see him. Hungry Druid says, honestly it makes me very suspicious. He's either doing it so he can apologise, too little too late in my opinion, or he wants something. I wonder if the sister and mother can support themselves without him. OP has a good job. I would not be surprised at all if he apologised and then asked for OP to support the family. Wow, yeah, I didn't even think about that actually. Darth Karina says, I was thinking that too, the family dynamic was always against OP, and now they want something. Code Kayumi says, the fact that the high and mighty sister was willing to beg for OP to come visit means something. She knows her lifestyle is going to be in shambles once their father dies, so she got to find money from somewhere. Gap Clat says, not the arsehole, you essentially could not fully live your life and be who you are until you left home. Even then you spent time dealing with the fallout of not talking to them much and eventually not at all. I'm so sorry you went through that. Whether you decide to talk to your father one last time or not is on you. Your life, your choice. Your husband can share his opinion once, but when it comes down to it, you have to do what feels right for you. Project VRD replies to this saying, preface him with not the arsehole, but if it ends up affecting his side of the family, then he can give his opinion more than just the once. But either way, I think he and his family will back whichever decision she makes. They sound like the stable side and took her under their wing. OP replies to this saying, he just told me that it's okay with whatever I decide, although he is not comfortable with seeing any of them again. My father-in-law and brother-in-law said the same. Then quotes, they sound like the stable side and took her under their wing. And then replies, yeah, they're all amazing. It sounds like she got a good support system behind her, which is the crucial thing right there. Thank God for that. But something still sits off with me on this story. I'm not sure what it is, but I think they're just going to kidnap her if she goes back. Stay away, OP. Stay away. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for being mean and unnecessary by mansplaining periods to my boyfriend? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I've been dating my boyfriend for almost 3 years, the whole time on BC. I basically get 3 packs at a time, take 9 weeks of pills consecutively, and then have my period. I have a little bit of room when it comes to scheduling my period. My boyfriend and I got into a fight last night. I mentioned that I will be starting my period next Sunday, so I could be done with it by Friday for my sister's birthday trip. He joked, that's not an ideal time, could you have your period over the weekend? We're away. Instead, he actually made this joke once before, which I shut down. I said, I hope you're joking, why would I be in pain while we're on a trip? He confirms it was a joke, but said, it's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, it's not like we're going to be having sex on the trip anyway. I told him that was a bad joke, and he agreed and apologised, but when I wanted to talk about how I felt, he snapped at me and said, I already apologised and you knew it was a joke, so stop talking about it, you're beating a dead horse. He also said, even if you started your period on Sunday, wouldn't you still be on your period until the next Sunday? I said, no, my period lasts 5 days. He argued with me and said, no, periods last 7 days. Now, I know that's true for some girls, but it's not for me. On BC, I have a light flow day, 2 heavy flow days, and 2 more spotting/light days. At this point, I'd really had it and went off on him saying, don't try to tell me how long my own period lasts when I'm the one taking hormone pills. I'm the one who sees my blood, and I'm the one that's in pain. You don't have a period, so don't try to correct me. He accused me of mansplaining periods to him, being mean, and that said I was being a bitch, and left the room. We woke up this morning, and he's still heavily arguing. He wants me to apologise for being mean and unnecessary, and says that I should have nicely corrected him. In my opinion, I had already corrected him once, when he said periods are 7 days. Since I refused to apologise, he also said I clearly couldn't take responsibility for my own actions and I'm being unable to understand how what I said would come off. But he also said that he called me a bitch because I was acting like one. He said he wouldn't apologise for calling me a bitch until I apologised for being mean. I don't think that I was mean at all, even if it wasn't exactly nice. Besides that, he doesn't seem to understand what was wrong about his joke. Because he said this morning, you can schedule your periods and you'll be in pain either way. Why not have it when it's the most convenient for everyone? I was only giving my opinion on when you should have it. It's not like I was telling you. Please tell me who is right. If I'm wrong, I'll apologise. Mark, please insert a Jean-Luc Picard facepalm right here. It's definitely needed. Wow, I'm going to go straight into the comments with this one because we've covered a story similar to this before and you guys know my opinions on this kind of thing, so well, hopefully you do. Fabulous Saute says, not the arsehole, he's the one mansplaining and gaslighting all over what? The inconvenience of not having sex for 5 days. OP replies to this saying, not to mention we still have sex when I'm on my period anyway, so I don't think it's even a good reason. Wordy Birdie replies to this saying, sorry to say this, but your boyfriend is a controlling arsehole then. International Divide Zero says, he mansplained your period to you and then complained when corrected. Just for the record, only one of my friends has a period that long, but she has a medical condition. Mine are 4 days and pretty normal according to my obgyn. You might want to take him along on the next appointment, as someone can tell him not all females' bodies work the same way. Extraterrestrial 23 says, not the arsehole, you literally can't, by definition, mansplain your own period to your boyfriend, and he was the one mansplaining. Also, just because you can control when you get your period, does not mean that he gets to say when you have it. Moongirl 12 says, not the arsehole, this is the opposite of mansplaining, literally. Ah, God. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. And our final story comes from Mirror Scary. Am I the arsehole for not offering a family heirloom ring to daughter who got married first? I have 2 daughters, Claire and Emma, who have never gotten along well. Claire was the rebellious one growing up, hated any type of societal expectations, and Emma was much more conventional. Claire began dating her now husband when she went away to college, and the first time she brought him home, my husband was not happy. He had black nail polish and a streak in his hair. I actually had a conversation with my husband how he can't be such a pompous ass and he's going to drive Claire away. Neither of us liked her husband, but we tried to bite our tongues. He did not ask my husband for a hand in marriage, and when they told us they were engaged, she already had a ring. Emma also met my husband in college and he was much more clean cut and someone my husband would approve of. Emma's fiance came to us before he proposed and asked permission. This endeared him more to my husband, and my husband told him that he had a family heirloom ring he received in his mother's will, and if he wanted to use it for Emma, he could. It's a very expensive ring and it was left to my husband on the condition I never wear it. Long story, mother-in-law hated me. He did offer it to me, but it didn't feel right. Emma's fiance accepted the ring and Claire found out and thinks that we punished her for making different choices, being with a man we don't like and not going along with a sexist tradition. I feel like it was my husband's ring to do what he wanted, and since Claire's husband didn't tell us before he proposed, she already had a ring and we're not playing favourites. One of the things that initially jumped out to me was your mother-in-law said to you that you could never wear the ring, and it was a long story, your mother-in-law hated you. So you've been through the situation where your mother-in-law was an arse to you. Well, I don't know the story behind it, but now you're doing this to this other poor guy just because he's not, and I quote, a clean-cut type guy, someone your husband would approve of. I mean, come on, man. For real, does it matter what colour his hair is? As long as he's a nice guy and he's looking after your daughter, what does it matter, right? Let's go down into the comments to see what we can find. Trash says, and quotes, he had black nail polish and a streak in his hair, and then says, I don't know how both of you got through that. What a trying time. You're the arsehole for favouring one daughter over another. Not everyone is clean cut and follows the same path. Why don't you like Claire's husband? You didn't really explain that. Fresher Blythe says, what is the father going to do? Split the ring in half? If Claire got the ring, I'd say Emma would be pissed, and you can still call the father an arsehole. Honey Zombie replies to this saying, OP said herself that her husband is a pompous ass, and that even way prior to the ring issue, she's talked to him about not driving Claire away with his attitude. I get the impression that Claire has been dealing with his disapproval of who she is for a number of years. Sounds like favouritism to me. Your Little Voice also replies to this saying, OP says her mother-in-law didn't like her because OP was having an affair with her now husband while married. Insane to be judging other people's marriage, especially your kids, based on how they look. Flown says, people are absolutely crazy when it comes to this stuff. I met a Catholic priest at a hotel once while travelling for work. We got to talking and he said the thing that worried him most about youth today was body modification. I expected him to say mental health issues, abuse, education, joblessness. Nope, fucking tattoos. Myopia is something else. I think he thought I'd be receptive because I have no tattoos or piercings, but I noped out of there fast. Finance Lady 32 says, you're the arsehole for expecting your son-in-law to ask permission to marry your daughters. The only permission they need is from the woman they are marrying. You do not own your daughters. Also, you're the arsehole for not even offering the ring to the first daughter to wed. It smacks of favouritism. And for the final story, I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to vote for story 5 on that poll in the description. Once again guys, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. If you did, maybe hit like, maybe subscribe, and possibly consider joining if you want to. But no pressure to do so. There's another video on your screen if you'd like to see another one, if you want to of course, and I will see you in the next one. Much love guys, take care now, goodbye.